Welcome to another community conversation. I'm Michael Witch for LMC Media, and my guest today is Holly Rosen-Fink, and she's representing the Westchester Jewish Coalition for Immigration, or WJCI. And Holly, it's welcome back to LMC Media. You've been our guest before. And today, we're talking about the Israelis that were displaced since the horrific attack on October 7th in Israel plunged that region into a real serious war. I read in the Haaretz that some 315,000 Israelis in the north and south of the country have been displaced, and actually 1.9 million of the residents in Gaza have been displaced. And we can do another program about that war. But today we're going to be talking about the Israelis that were displaced and how it has impacted Westchester County. Can you tell us what's going on with WJCI and how you're involved with helping those Israelis?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. October 7th was one of the darkest days in Israeli history, as you know.
Mm.
And WJCI, as a Jewish organization, felt compelled to stand up and do something after October 7th. We were given a grant from the United Jewish Federation of New York right around that time to assist our efforts. We, since then, have helped a number of Israelis find temporary housing, pay medical bills or dental bills, pay for after-school activities for children. We've hosted a few events for displaced Israelis in Westchester and the surrounding region, to help them with this very, very challenging period. To date, we've helped 6 families find housing and a number of others, like I said, with miscellaneous expenses. Traditionally, we are an organization that takes care of refugees and asylum seekers only. And as you know, Israelis are not refugees. They are not here on the same kind of, refugee status or legal status. But we shifted our mission because we do feel that this fits in with what we do. They are fleeing a war. It is a disaster, as you know. And all of the Israelis that we are helping are coming with trauma. They're coming with financial problems because of the war. And so that is why and how we stepped up.
Are these Israelis going to be returning, or do you think they're going to become residents of the U.S. eventually?
Most of the ones we've helped have returned.
Oh, okay.
They're already back. They did come from the northern and southern parts of Israel. That was a requirement that the people that we did help were, in desperate need. And a lot of them have gone back. That some of them do remain, but are planning to go back to Israel in the next couple weeks to a month.
You've also got a program that some of these folks can visit Jewish community centers and talk about their particular situation. Can you explain that program?
That program, we teamed up with JCC Mid-Westchester and Scarsdale, ran twice. That was a program where we brought displaced Israelis together, not only for community connections, but also for resources and to learn from each other and from us, and so we could help them further. However, at the last event in December, we did start to see a drop in attendance due to the fact that people were going back. So we aren't doing that anymore. However, we are partners with a number of organizations in Westchester, such as JCC, Shames, such as the Westchester Jewish Council. There are a number of organizations that have come together to form a local collaboration called Biyachad. The information is on the JCC Mid-Westchester website. And for any displaced Israeli who needs help, they can go there and find out about, for example, housing initiatives like we've had, mental health, help for anyone who's traumatized, and other services.
You mentioned some of the difficulties, challenges that these folks are facing. What's the most serious one? Is it a psychological dealing with the psychological trauma of having to relocate even temporarily?
Definitely, the trauma is a huge part of it. There was a little boy, age 5, who, upon entering his safe apartment in New York, asked his father where the safe room was, because that's where they were most of the time before they left Israel, in a room,
Mm,
staying safe from bombs being dropped on their kibbutz in northern Israel. But there are a number of other issues too. There are financial issues. I mean, it's incredibly hard. These people were not expecting this, so they weren't ready to have to relocate. That is where the UJA grant has come into immense help for them, and we're very glad to be able to give help to people who are struggling. We helped a man who actually fled 2 wars. He fled Ukraine and then he fled Israel.
mm.
He had gone from Ukraine to Israel and came here, and we helped him secure an Airbnb just to have a safe place to live for a while. And we also bought him a camera so we could make money during that time period while he's figuring life out. So UJA has been an instrumental partner to WJCI in many, many ways over the years. They also stepped in during the Afghan crisis, again during the Ukrainian crisis, and
Mhm.
again during the Israeli crisis. We are very, very solid partners in this work.
For people who are just hearing about this and they want more information, where do they go?
WJCI.org is our website. It lists a number of other ways that people can help too. Of course, we're very immersed in immigration issues. Right now, we are helping asylum seekers coming from the border who are staying at the local hotels in Westchester. We still help Ukrainians and Afghans and all the populations that still need our assistance. And we're still fully, immersed in this work. So if anyone wants to help, that's the place to go. And then they can email info@wjci.org for more information.
Okay. Uh, what else do you want people to know about this, in particular, this effort to help the displaced Israelis?
Um, I guess, we are not a political organization. This is a humanitarian effort, completely 100%. And that is why we do this work. We are passionate about it. We are passionate about helping people who are fleeing a war, and it feels good. And our main goal is to motivate and mobilize community members. That's what we do day in, day out. And we're very proud of the generosity that we've seen in this community since we've been in existence for 5 years, leading up to now. The response is always overwhelming from one crisis to another, and this one has been no exception. The Israeli crisis has been no exception.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't avoid hearing about it day in and day out on newspapers and radio and television stations. It's heartbreaking to hear about the displacements and the suffering, especially among the children. Um,
Mhm.
how many children have been served by WJCI?
I don't have the figures right in front of me. I would say about a dozen,
Hmm.
probably within the network of that we've primarily helped of families with housing.
Right.
Probably about a dozen children in the housing that we've found for displaced Israelis. We've also been able to work with local schools, LaFell,
Mm.
Westchester Day, and those children did receive, a nice education while they were here just for a temporary period. They were given temporary stays in these schools. JCC Manhattan is another school that has been very gracious to one of our Israeli children staying in New York City.
And the kids especially need that structure and
Yeah.
that routine to feel safe, to help feel safe, actually.
Absolutely. I think some of the children in the beginning weren't ready to go back to school. They
Mhm.
were too upset. They were upset about leaving. They were upset about, the bombs. Um, they were traumatized in ways that they couldn't sit in the classroom. Um, so we did help with ease that transition. One family came to us and asked for money to pay for after school activities to keep the kids just busy and entertained. And that was something we also did because we did see a need for that.
Mhm. Okay, one more time before we run out of time. How can people help?
Again, going to the website's a really good idea, looking around, looking at what we do. and getting in touch if this strikes a chord because your family were refugees. We believe that, you know, all of us were refugees at one point. If that resonates very strongly with you, then come to us and we can provide ways to help displaced Israelis and other populations that are in dire need right now.
Holly Rosen-Fink, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your busy day.
Thank you so much.
Tell us more.
Thank you
And
so much.
hope you come back again.
Thank you so much, Mike. Have a good day.